I've had my R1 for almost a year now. I know that because around a year ago, I said this. So this bike does have a somewhat of a rough history and a lot of miles on the clock. This bike has around 35,000 kilometers, or I think it's about 21,000 miles on the clock. And I know somebody's going to say that their uncle has a Fireblade with 222,000 Ks on the clock and it still doesn't use a drop of oil. But the thing is, to me, this is a lot of mileage. I wouldn't normally buy a bike with this much mileage, but the reason that I did choose this one is because I don't plan on keeping it even a year. So hopefully it should be good for that length of time. And as it turns out, despite its rough history, it has been a flawless bike and I haven't regretted it for a second. But a year later, it's a 2013 Yamaha R1 with 40,000 kilometers on the clock, which is the equivalent to 7,692 laps around Italy's Mugello circuit. That's a lot of laps. It also has D-badged Two Brothers exhausts that give off the wrong vibe, and more scratches than I'd like to admit. Although none of them were added by me, I'd like to point out. So how do we sell a gorgeous bike that has a few caveats for the best price possible? Well, it starts with cleaning. Obviously, the usual surface wash is required, but ensuring you go a little deeper than normal and cleaning all the hidden areas can make your bike stand out. It's all about making the fact that it has been loved and cared for easily visible. Areas like the rear shock linkage, any shiny bits around the stand, under the fuel cap tab, and in my case, behind the calipers can hide dirt that you might not even notice. But if it's suddenly shiny and clean, it can look like a very well cared for bike, and maybe even hide its age a bit. And don't forget to scrub your brake discs up to get rid of the layers of brake dust and add a layer of polish to your paintwork. Both of these will get the bike gleaming, and chances are you won't even want to sell it anymore. But on the off chance that you still do, it's probably a good idea to check some fluids. A thorough buyer will check the oil level to judge your motorcycle owning ability. The same can be said for the coolant. And the color of your brake fluid can also give away all your dirty secrets, which I've been meaning to address for a while now. I mean, look at it. Bleeding your brakes is an inexpensive way to make your brake fluid reservoirs look much more inviting, even if your brakes haven't been feeling bad at all. It's probably also a good time to have a look at wearing components, like tires, chains, and sprockets. A square back tire, a loose chain, or teeth that look like they could snap off any second on the back sprocket can make a bike look like more trouble than it's actually worth. If they do need replacing, you'll have to decide whether you can get more money by replacing them yourself and increasing the price of the bike, or leaving them as is and lowering the price of the bike for the new owner to deal with. It's also impossible to sell a bike without some good photos of it. But I've learned the hard way that nobody actually cares if your bike is an Instagram model. They really only care about what the bike looks like and what condition it's in. Professional cameras are definitely overkill, as much as it hurts me to admit. Smartphones are perfectly good enough if you make sure you're in decent light with a plain background, preferably not in a dark alley or harsh sunlight, because neither will do your bike justice. Over-edited photos or ridiculous filters are also a red flag and looks like you're trying to cover up your bike's imperfections. So keep them plain and simple. I would say the more photos the better, but I doubt everyone would agree. So stick to the basics. Capture all four sides. the right, front, left, and back, along with any accessories or modifications the bike has, like exhausts, levers, and windscreens. And lastly, proof of the odometer, because you can't trust anyone on the internet. The goal is for people to be able to see everything they need to see simply from the photos, to make the final transaction easier and faster. If you need to get an idea of the price you should be at, go through local adverts online of other bikes like yours for sale. You can see how much your specific bike, year model, and similar miles is going for. When setting a price, try to be a bit competitive while still leaving room for negotiation, because everyone will give it a try. It's not always easy, but you'll have to compromise somewhere. Whether it's how long it takes to sell or a lower price is up to you. And as cliche as it might be, old-fashioned sales tactics like using 6,999 instead of 7,000 is a good idea. It means your ad will fit into a lower price bracket when search filters are narrowed. But the most important aspect to stress is to have the correct information in your advert. Nobody likes the guy that lists his 2013 R1 as a 2015 because that's when it was first registered. Give an honest and clear description, because mint condition does not apply to a bike that's been thrown down the road. Ultimately, the goal is to come across as though you know what you're talking about, because that way, people are less likely to mess you around. And the rest is up to your bike to sell itself, because after all, they are beautiful machines that quite frankly are difficult to resist. But anyway, if you have any more tips to get the value of your motorcycle up, leave them down in the comments and I'll see you on the next ride.